Hello, everybody. Welcome back to High Vibing It. We're so excited to have you all here and have our super awesome guest that you may or may not recognize from YouTube. If you're a frequent YouTuber, we have Mr. Steve Nobel joining us today. He is the creator of thesoulmatrix.com and author of The Spiritual Entrepreneur, which is fitting because I know we got a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs listening to High Vibing It, tuning in every week. So we're just going to dive into all the fun spiritual stuff today. Steve, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for inviting me. It's nice to connect with you guys across the pond.
Across the pond.
Across
the pond and the country, because she's on the East Coast, I'm on the West, so it's like at the pond and then the whole United States. We got you covered, guys.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's from North Carolina to Vegas, desert, the center of the desert.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I'm in not so sunny Britain, in the southeast coast of England, which is a bit grey at the moment. So yeah, bit grey.
Shout out from England, everyone. Well, we're so happy to have you. I love what you do, and I know that everything that we're going to talk about today is going to be perfectly aligned with what needs to be said and heard, and integrated. So, Kelsey, I'm going to start. Is that cool? I'm just going to go for it.
Girl.
She's Aries. She has to go first.
I got to do it. We had a little chat before the episode, and I already just want to adopt him into the show forever. Can he just do every episode that we do? Because his accent, we got to get the people that love accents like you and me to listen. And this is the best way to do it. So Steve, how did you get?
Most important question. Sorry, I have to ask this one question.
Go for it.
Do we have an accent in your mind?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't have an accent, but you guys, you have a beautiful accent.
Right.
You know, North Carolina, isn't that the deep South? And, you know.
Well, I'm not from here, so I don't talk like that.
Okay, I love the
but
North
give
Carolina.
me a couple of years.
Yeah, you need the bell. What's it? The lovely bell.
Southern
accent,
Belle.
Southern Belle.
Yes.
Mhm.
Southern Belle.
Yeah.
I'm actually
Yes.
originally from Michigan. So when I moved, I don't know if I kept it or lost it. But when I talked to my sister, she's like, oh my gosh, and it sounds so Minnesotan that because we're right below Canada. So we get a lot of we adopt a little bit of the Canadian accent. We adopt a little of the Minnesota. But I think I lost most of it when I moved. And I had a roommate who was so Valley girl. I love you, Chrissy. Don't be mad at me. But she was just, when I moved to California, she's just like, oh my God, and we have to go here. And you guys don't even know. And this is so lame. I'm like, who says lame? I was so culture shocked. But there's so many accents in the United States. But I know there's so many in England too. You guys can hear the differences between Liverpool and Northern and what's the other ones? There's a lot more.
It's Birmingham, Newcastle.
Yeah.
Some of them you can't understand. I go there what do they say? What are they talking about?
Really?
I've got no idea. Yeah, because
so it's not just us Americans that go there. We're we don't know what you're saying. I know we went to Ireland and there were some I don't know what you're saying. I'm so sorry. What are you saying to me?
The Irish is a beautiful accent and they have a beautiful sense of humor. They for example, you ask someone, which is the way to wherever, and they go, well, you see that road down there, that road with the tree? Well, don't go that way. And that's a typical kind of Irish way of explaining. In England, we're like, what? They just go all the way around the houses explaining, but it's very poetic. In England, we're kind of more, not quite as strong as the Germans, which are very jong time and everything, but we have a little bit be on time,
structure.
Structure.
I do remember everybody being just so friendly though, and if you're a testament to anything, I think it's just so true, just very warm and open. I'm sure most people aren't like that, or a lot of people might not be, but everybody we came into contact with were just so friendly and open and just wanted to talk to you. That's weird. People don't just want to talk to other people here. Not that I've ever. Is it like that in North Carolina, Kels?
Only because in Charlotte, everybody is a transplant and everybody wants to make friends. So nobody's from here in the city where I live. Everyone's coming. So people are very chatty. What's your story? Where'd you come from? I just moved here too. That type of vibe. But normally maybe it wouldn't be so much like that.
Oh, cool.
Maybe
America's such a cool place. It's so many different wonderful people. I mean, it's like going through 50 different countries when you go to America, isn't it? You just go around.
I hear.
Yes.
It's so different and the people are so different, but Americans are generally very enthusiastic, like you were doing. Oh my God, we don't kind of do that over here so much, not quite so much. Americans, they're effusive. Because I used to be a director of this spiritual organization in London. We used to host a lot of American authors, and the British authors used to come out and go, "Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to me. It's so nice." And the Americans used to go, "Hi, everybody. How you doing? Yo!" And we're like, "Oh," and the audience would like go, "Eek."
They don't know what to do.
Yeah, we had to say to some of the, but when a few of them have been over a few times, they kind of know to tone it down a bit, because like there was one or two they've been over the first time and they were really scary, like they scared the audience. The audience are not used to this. Yeah, because Americans are so like, let's do it, let's go for it. I mean, maybe a bit of the Aries, whereas British is more like, humble and more, well, maybe we can do it. I don't know. Do we have permission to do it? Can we do it? Whereas Americans more like, we're going to do it. We don't care who says no, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And so I found I like the happy medium between the two, because I think Britain's too humble and America, I think, can sometimes be too much like that, and so I like the middle, like be in the middle somewhere. So that was my learning from dealing with a lot of Americans and British authors as well.
That's funny. Yeah, I have British people are just a little bit more reserved from like the stereotypes, and then Americans are like, yeah, let's do it, let's party and get everybody pumped up and excited, and not everybody's ready to be pumped up and excited all the time. But anyway, speaking of like how you, like your background and how you got started, how did you get started? What brought you to what you do now? And I'm sure maybe you did come out of the hospital like ready to do some meditations, but like what got you from there to here?
So when I was a kid, I was very interested in superhero comics. Nice. American Marvel, when it's fantastic comics. Spider-Man was my absolute hero. It was a bit like Harry Potter. It was the kind of nerdy, but you feel sorry for him, and he struggles with his girlfriends. And so I also used to watch a lot of sci-fi things, Doctor Who, Star Trek. I was
oh my gosh, can we talk about we can't talk about Doctor Who, but I am so with you. You have no idea. I'm Marvel, Doctor Who, all the sci-fi. Give it to me. I love this story already.
Bewitched. I loved it. But my family were not really switched on. And actually, when Bewitched came on, you remember Bewitched, the nose.
Oh, yeah.
And Samantha, Elizabeth Montgomery, wasn't it? And when it first came on, my father said, this is not suitable for you. It's witchcraft, off. And I had a very kind of, they weren't really puritanical, but they had elements of very strange thinking. So I had to struggle with that. And they didn't like they knew I was weird, and they kind of tried to make me not weird, and I tried for a while not being weird, but it was really hard going. And then I mean, in my adult years, I got a regular job in the banking in the city, and I got married very young. But then after a while, I just, the spirit was calling me, and I had to do it. Even my ex-wife was going, no, you've got responsibilities. You can't do that weird stuff, but the calling was so strong. And so in the 90s, in my early 30s, I just had to follow the path, and everything was against me. Family, ex-wife, I had 2 young children. And so it was not an easy thing to do. It was like, well, it's me or your spiritual journey. And really the calling was so strong. Yeah. But fortunately, I'm very good friends with my kids. They're grown up. I've got grandchildren now. They all still think I'm slightly weird, but they kind of love me now. I go, Granddad, you've got a YouTube channel. That's cool. I mean, 2 of them have said that to me. You've got a YouTube channel. What do you do on it, Granddad? Do you do Om? They kind of said, you think you Om all day long or something. So they don't really understand it, but they still think it's cool. So I've kind of healed to some extent that path, but I started a journey. I left the corporate world. I went in, I became eventually a director of a spiritual organization promoting authors, like Deepak Chopra and Byron Katie and Neil Donald Walsh and all those kind of Marianne Williamsons, all those kind of people. And it was nice. I met them, had tea with them, and got to know them. Julia Cameron loved me. She was lovely. I loved her.
Love it.
The author of The Artist's Way. I just basically bought her a load of tea that she wanted. She was like my friend forever. She always came to alternatives, because I just bought her a bag of tea, which was like £5, $7. But I went out of my way to get a special tea. So anyway, then I left that. I got the soul calling to leave, and I resisted it because I liked it. I liked the family. I liked the job. I didn't want to do it. And I resisted it. And that created a bit of an implosion in my life and a bit of a dark night of the soul that went on for 6 years. And then at the end of that 6 years, I started coming back, switching back on. My intuition came back on. My connection to source came back on. And the first thing I heard one morning was talk about starseeds and ascension. And I'm like, I don't even know I know that much about starseeds. This was the voice saying, do it now. And I'm like, it means becoming even weirder than I was before. So I sat for 2 weeks really thinking about it, and I thought, I can't resist the calling anymore, because I don't want to implode my life again. So I just followed it. And in the beginning, it felt like I was winging it because I didn't know how much I knew, but I was just downloading and channeling it basically. And then after a while, like I've been starting doing all these transmissions, which started in Greece when I was in Greece doing a writing retreat. And then I started putting them on YouTube, and then slowly people started following them. And then I got this voice saying it's time to do sessions, one-to-one sessions. So I was like, but doing what? And the voice said, you'll work it out. And I'm like, right.
Don't you
great,
love that?
thank you.
It's like,
That's
okay,
reassuring. Cool.
So I started it. I did work it out, and they were there to help me, of course. But so I have followed their advice. And 4 or 5 years ago, I got the advice: put everything online, get out, move everything online, which now in hindsight has been great. And I did tell the director of the organization Left Alternatives, not get everything online, but move online. And they were saying, no, we're cool, we're good. And then bang, the global thing hit. And a lot of people have been backpedaling super fast, but I was in a good position because I was already established. My business, I could be in Costa Rica or, Bahamas or anywhere. And so it's really nice to have that, I commute from my bedroom, which is 1 floor up, down to the office here, and then 1 floor down, the kitchen, and out for a cup of tea. I don't waste time commuting anymore. I'm enjoying the kind of spiritual entrepreneur life, and still doing Starseeds, Ascension, what's going on the planet, and just trying to work out from a kind of channeled point of view and also a practical point of view from what I see and experience in the world, rather than, just believing anything I'm just downloading. I want to test it out. What is actually going on in the world now? And so that's kind of been what I've been doing. And I've got about 20,000 people following me on my newsletter, and I kind of let them know what I think, and they seem to like my musings. So that's good.
This is the best this is the best. You're a Libra like my dad. We established that. And this is how he would say that. Well, people seem to like it. It's fine. Yeah. It's like, people love you. What do you mean? I can say it. People love you. Okay.
Yeah.
I did want to ask though, and I just lost the question, but it was, when you say they, like I got the download, they said, who is it that you're referring to? Do you have like a team of, how do you recognize them?
Well, for many years, my work was connecting really with higher self. That was my main focus, connecting with the higher self, and the higher self is being the gatekeeper of other beings that come in. And I didn't really know, I'd seen some of them, I connected with some of them, but they seemed to come in and out really. And then I started doing a lot of work with angels, and again, they come in and out, some of them. Star races started coming in and out. So basically, certainly over the last 5 years, what would happen is I'd have an intense connection with some energy, some group, some being. And it's almost like an intense love affair. Like, we're having fun, we're dating, we're talking. And then I got the download, I put it out, and then they kind of go away. And I'm like, hey, we were just getting to know each other, and they're gone. But I do have in all of the transmissions, there's 6 archangels that I work with, 4 on the horizontal plane and 2 in the vertical plane. And I work with them consistently. So every transmission is held by the same angels. So, but within that, different energies come in and out. And so, but there's a team in spirit. And one of the important things for me is to keep the channel clear, because I feel a lot of teachers and channels are not clear. And you need to have a clear process so that daily you clear yourself, because if you don't, then you could have all kinds of influences that you don't know who they are. And I've had teachers who've said, I've just got some Egyptian transmission or something. And I said, well, where's this from? They go, I've got no idea, but it felt good. I mean, some guy went to the British Museum and saw the Book of the Dead, and he started channeling something from it. And I'm like, you just can't channel randomly because it feels good. I can't do that. I've got to make sure that I am clear. And this is so important, really. It's a big responsibility to be clear. If you're not clear, then who knows what's going to come through.
Yeah. So. And we hear that a lot with people who are that tapped in and tuned in. They'll talk about, you got to stay clear. You got to stay clear, and also like make sure your own influence isn't coming through with what you're getting to, so that you're not like logicking it or judging it in a way that you're really not supposed to, which we do anyway. Like you even said, when you got the message to do Ascension, you're like, what? Do one-on-one? What? Like, what am I supposed to? And you start judging it right away, but you'll figure it out. And guess what? You did.
Yeah, and you got to surrender. And one of the part of the journey is surrendering the mind to the greater mind. And of course, the mind will have its judgments and I don't want to do this, and its resistances. Or even now, I'm still got my resistances. I don't know if I want to do that. Why I got to do that? I'm a bit anxious about that. And then I just tune in and I relax and go, oh, okay, fine. I just surrender it, and it's fine. I'll do it. So basically, my method now is just to say yes, like the yes man. That thing was it Jim Carrey, just say yes to everything.
And that's a big amount of trust that you put in. So it's not a small thing to say yes to things that scare you, because you have to be brave enough to do it and to trust that it's going to work out.
Yeah, I know. I said yes to something. It wasn't my higher self, but my partner bought me a scuba lesson for Christmas, and it had a year's expiry. And she said, it's expiring, you got to go and do it. I'm like, oh, all right. So I went and did it. Oh my God. The first 5 minutes was facing all my fears of, I think I nearly drowned in this lifetime once, and maybe other lifetimes, and it all came out. The tutor was very good. And I was just like, I need a breath. Let me breathe. And then and in the end, it was great. But I had to go through 5-10 minutes of absolute fear of like, I'm going to drown under here.
Yeah.
But
this is
then
it.
was all right. Yeah. Then I was all right. So, yeah.
That's so cool.
So how do you like to cleanse? Do you have like a daily cleansing, or like what's your jam as far as cleansing goes?
I go through a clearing procedure, which I kind of write out, and I extend it when I find, there's something missing from it. So basically it's 3 or 4 pages, but it's so quick now. I just kind of run through it. And then am I 100%? I have pendulums, and then I just check, am I 100% clear? Or is more need to be done? Is it 0 to 100? How clear am I from 0 to 100%? And then I've got my partner who will check me. And if I feel that something really is interfering, then I've got 2 or 3 people that I just say, please check on me. I'm not sure what this is, and I need you to clear this. And it has to be people I trust, because I've actually gone to healers and I've come out with a bigger problem.
Yeah.
So that's the trouble, really. And they're well-meaning and beautiful people, but sometimes they may give me an extra layer of something I need to learn about or deal with. So now I'm a bit very careful. Even like if I get crystals, clear them all, put them in the garden, clear them all. Don't, because I actually had the experience of this one, actually. I think it was this one. This lovely little crystal. Beautiful. Came into the house, and then I didn't realize
it's an elongated skull.
Yeah, it comes from Avebury. It's beautiful, but it had some programming that had to be released.
Hang on. What do you mean it came from Avebury? I've been to the Avebury Stones. I did not know that I could get a crystal there.
Oh, there's a crystal shop right in the circle.
What?
And they've got a hidden room full of these skulls. And this is the one that was calling to me, buy me, buy me, buy me.
So wait, what happened with that crystal? You bought it and you discovered there was some attachments, or what?
Yeah, it had some energies in it that needed to be it was also very chatty. It started chatting to me a lot, and I was like, oh well, this is cool. But then I thought, oh no, I think you need to go and into the garden and be cleared.
And you just do like a sun cleansing? Is that what you do?
Yeah, I leave it out 48 hours in the elements, and I'll just check with the pendulum, are you done? Or I might ask for ultraviolet fire to clear through it, all layers, levels, and dimensions. And yeah, so me and my partner, we do a morning, she's very good actually with it. We do a morning grounding, clearing, protecting, and in the evening, and she's got a very thorough psychic protection process. So I just follow her now. I go, I do this all day long. I want you lead it, and then we'll do it together. So we do it every night, every morning. And it does help clear out a lot of interference, not all interference, because I still get interfered with. I think it's the nature of just being visible. But I've had probably 20-odd years, 25 years of psychic attack experiences. So I've been in the dark arts training, and, of all kinds of dark arts, been whacked by it. So eventually it's part of, well, this is what you're here to help other people with. It's not really the thing I enjoy the most, but it is important to clear out lower astral, lower galactic, portals, ancestral problems, cording, negative openings or tunnels in the energy. There's a whole range of stuff that can come through. And, the only negative alien AI is the latest one I've been dealing with a lot. The reason I can deal with it is because I've been like, oh God, what's that? Let's get that out. And otherwise I'll just be theory. It's got to be, the universe is kind of, well, you want to know about portals? Here's a portal. now clear it. And or here's some nasty cordings for you, or here's some nasty interference. And it's the way of learning. My partner complains about it because she said, I don't like, that's not a nice way of learning. I said, yeah, but it's very effective, isn't it? You will learn about it.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
I got it. Did you actually say alien AI, negative alien AI?
Yeah, negative alien AI.
You're going to have to say more.
Well, starseeds are multidimensional souls. They come from many dimensions, have many life experiences, many higher dimensions, which are lovely, light, beautiful, high vibrational. And here on this earth plane, there's a mixture of energies. There's a mixture of people from, so many backgrounds. Some are very high vibrational starseeds, and some have been here on the planet for a long time. And also on the planet, there's a lot of focus now from positive ET, I shouldn't call them ET, positive star races, and which are helpful. And there are also ET races, which are of a darker type. And one of the things you can have, just as the technology is building for AI, artificial intelligence, there is a kind of fourth density AI, which is stuff that can go in people's energy field. You can't see it under a microscope, but you feel it. AI and devices and structures that can be put in people's energy field. It's weird. I mean, I did a year and a half's training in light body surgery, and the stuff that was being pulled out, like, for example, you could pull out chastity belts around people's energy. They go, why am I not having a good sex life? Well, you've got a chastity belt wrapped around you. Or the throat is another very common area of problem. It's the most common area is the sacral and the throat, I find, for people. But some people may have interference in the third eye, and all of the interference is designed to neutralize the chakra, not let it open too much. And it can come from, for example, some of the problems come from if you've had a lifetime where you abused a gift, then you may shut it down. And you may also open yourself up to interference to help you shut it down. You may have led some people up the garden path in some other lifetime. Again, you may shut it down. There's all kinds of reasons why we shut things down, or when we may allow interference in our energy field. But there's a lot of negative alien interference on the planet right now that people are talking about. There are dark races, the reptilian and Greys and Orions and other races, and they're dark. They are very dark, So I've come across them, and you got to learn how do you neutralize these guys. The fortunate thing is this is a planet of free will, and interference can only happen with the consent of people, whether that consent is unconscious or conscious. So at some level, let's say the global situation right now, this is very controversial, but I'll say my piece anyway.
Go for it.
So the planet has been a dark planet for thousands of years. And that means there've been negative alien interference on the planet for thousands of years. Way, way back, there's been a lot of light star races. We've got a lot of genetics, which is light star races. But in recent years, the planet has been dark. And those dark forces are hidden, and they're behind the scenes, really. And a lot of people talk about Illuminati and Cabal. And that pyramid of deep state you've got in America, it's like there, it's fully there, right? And all of the politicians, I mean, it's in a lot of the main countries in the world, really. England is no different. The strings are being pulled in government, in media, in military, in religion. It's all connected to this deep state Cabal Illuminati, and they're very real. Those forces are very real, and they have a lot of power, but they're on the retreat. They're losing their energy because the planet is ascending. And so because they realize the planet is ascending, and because they don't want to let go of control, there's a few ways they're trying to keep control. The first one was 9/11, which was a massive black op to keep the planet in control. A lot of people, when I saw 9/11, I went, that is not real. That whatever the governments are saying is not true. I don't believe it. I was not into conspiracy theory, but I just looked at it, I thought, I don't believe a bunch of people with a bunch of knives just went there and did that. There's something very, very wrong about it. My intuition was going red alert. There's something wrong about this. And then the latest attempt is the global pandemic, if I may say that. When I look at the thing, this is not a natural occurrence. It's something in nature that's been contrived and manipulated and released deliberately. that's my opinion. Now you don't have to agree with it, and your listeners may go, no, Steve, we don't like that. Yeah, you agree with me, okay? And the thing is that the thing was released with an agenda, and part of the agenda is, global control. If you've got like 3/4 of the planet in absolute terror, wearing masks and being jabbed and all these things. And the interesting thing I thought about this particular issue is that any dissenting voice, any debate has been silenced. In democracy, debate, but no debate, it's just like boom. And the world is splitting now into two timelines. The timeline of those who are really following the old 3D fear timeline, control, manipulation, and a new timeline, which is people going, this is all BS. We don't believe this, and we ain't buying into that, and they're going off on that timeline. So there's a lot of channels have talked about it for a long time, and prophecies around a splitting of dimensions. And for a long time, you can have a foot in both dimensions, but increasingly it's getting harder as those, it's a bit like the feet are being pulled apart. You have to choose, which way am I going to go? Am I going to go in the love, unity, consciousness, or the old, let's have, who do we blame? Who do we distrust? And who do we hate? And all of that stuff. It's getting more and more, you must have noticed it's more and more polarized. Oh, yeah. So the light and dark is getting more polarized. Dark forces, those dark ET forces, which were hidden, and the cabal forces, which were hidden for a long time, are now no longer hidden. They're becoming the magician behind the curtain, in the Wizard of Oz. You can see the magician, and you can start feeling there's something not quite right about politics, and even politicians are coming out. Was it Tulsi Gabbard? I quite like Tulsi Gabbard, the Democrats. She's come out and started saying some stuff. And, I would naturally probably be a Democrat, but when I look at the Democratic Party, right, I'm like, there's no way I could even support what's going on with them. But the dark have got fingers in both pies, just like over here, Labour and Conservative are both controlled really in many, many ways. We think it's a democracy, but actually it's a controlled democracy. Right. But the more people see through it, the more the whole thing is busted open. So the planet is getting darker to get lighter. Yeah, that's my view. I think it's darkest before the dawn, and it's going to get darker next year, maybe even darker than this year, because they're trying to keep pushing, and it will get to a point where they'll be like, people are just going to go, no, we ain't doing this anymore. Yeah. I was on a march in London, a million people went on a march in London, a million. The police were like stepping back. What can you do with a million people marching through? You can't really stop them, can you? So I think that actually stopped the British government from pushing too strong an agenda with the jab. We don't
want to say it.
Yeah.
We're afraid. Don't say the word. We'll get censored.
But it's true. Like, I've noticed
for 1 second.
Sure.
Is my connection okay on this side? Because everything's like looping when you guys are talking. Does it seem
I can hear you
for
fine.
Your recording?
When he was talking, I was fine. He was fine. You kept freezing.
Okay.
And you're
so it's probably my
like, the sound was fine, but every once in a while you would be like this for a really long time. And then I'd be like, is she just listening or is she frozen? And then you'd come back. So the sound was fine. I have it recording too, if you need it.
Okay. We'll probably need your recording only because I think my internet's slow. And when he was talking about all the darkness, the internet got weird. So they don't want us to know what's going on. But I was gathering bits and pieces. And I do agree with this general sentiment.
We heard it loud and clear over here.
Before it gets lighter, and the whole like biggest parallel reality of all time is like happening, where we're all going to be on this earth together, but having totally different experiences. Which
wait, are we unpaused?
But it's becoming.
Did you unpause us yet?
I mean, I didn't actually pause it.
Okay,
I just verbally paused us. But unpause, yes, I totally hear like that whole perspective and theory, and I definitely resonate with it because I've been noticing this like biggest parallel reality ever moment where people are living perceivably on the same earth in this same lifetime, but having totally different experiences, which is so crazy and also very dangerous because there's no like bridges, right? Like your perspective is not what's happening. Yours is not what's happening. I don't have the patience or the tolerance to understand like your reality. And I feel like that's causing a whole nother slew of problems on top of all the other problems.
Well, yeah. I was just on a double date this weekend with some friends of ours, and they are not the same belief system. Like they have religion in their life. They also are default Republicans, Trump supporters, and they are vaccinated, because they said themselves, once they took the politics out of it, they didn't see a reason not to, which I was like, mine had never had anything to do with politics, but okay, whatever. And we were talking, and the husband said, I have never seen this before, but I'll see something on the news or, whatever. And I will be like, how are people seeing this and thinking something else? Like, how can they witness what I'm witnessing and not think what I think? And what you just said is exactly what he was trying to say, which is, we are both perceivably experiencing the same thing, but we are getting we're extracting two different conclusions from the same thing. And I think a lot of it has to do with, he was blaming it all on the media. You're not seeing what I'm seeing. You're seeing some leftist version or some rightist version, which could be true or could be not. I think it has a huge influence, but I also think there's that parallel dimension thing happening where you just don't take the same thing from the same experience, because you're just not in the same experience. You're not in the same experience,
Yeah. I think people who are on the higher timeline, the 5D timeline, the ascending one, have a switched on connection to source, connection to guides, and intuition. And this is something that most of the people on the planet don't have. Because if I was to say to my parents, planets ascending, there are masters, there are angels of light, star seeds are here, they would have called the hospital and said, our son's under delusions or something. Yeah. And so you can have conversations with friends and it's, hey, it's normal, there's star seeds, we create our reality, intuition, synchronicities, signs, there's angels, there's flow. And they'll go, yeah, I know what you mean, I get you totally. And there are other people like, come again?
Wait, what?
What Kool-Aid have you been? I know in America you drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
We don't drink Kool-Aid over here. We've got the magic mushrooms, but you've got the Kool-Aid. So over here, babe, what mushrooms have you been taking? But over there, it's like, what Kool-Aid do you want? So my reality is 100% people who've drunk the Kool-Aid. So I'm only talking, apart from my family, who I love dearly, and they know my views, and we don't really go there because I think it's boring. They don't want to hear me go on about it, and they go, if you want to be jabbed, fine, do what you want to do, but don't jab my grandchildren, because I will be very upset if you do. And I told my granddaughter, I used all my, I said to Eva, I said, there's big needles, Eva, and they want to jab you with it. And it's just going, no, granddad. So I used every ploy to make her really worried. Don't let those needles near you, and because I think it's not fair for a 12-year-old to be asked to make a decision. And even in England, they're saying you can override your parents. And I just wanted to make sure she gets it. Do not take it. But apart from that, I think they can do what they want to do. Two of my relatives, my son is in the NHS, the health service, brother-in-law's in the health service, and they have their views. They're starting to open up, because I've had a few friends who've this is another one in the spiritual world I've heard. My higher self will transmute it.
I like that.
And I'm like, well, that would be nice. And maybe it's possible. But the people that told me that have found themselves in hospital a few months later going, and I said, well, maybe your higher self didn't transmute it for you, did you? You went and took it, didn't you? Even though your intuition said no.
That's the thing. I just think if your intuition is telling you that it's a good idea, then you should get it. But if your intuition is telling you, don't do this, if there's something in your body that is just wrong and making you feel like it is a wrong step, then that is what you need to listen to. If you're ever doing anything outside of that, it's just it doesn't usually end well when you're going against your intuition.
So if people listen to their intuition and not listen to, I want to travel, that's the main thing. It's the arm twisting. I want a donut, or whatever they're giving out these days. Like, no, tune in.
I want a donut.
Yeah, because they're giving out donuts now.
It's interesting.
And
we've talked about this before. Yeah, they're giving out fast food and
taking away
junk.
Your rights.
If you're gonna bribe me with like a gym membership or like healthy food, organic stuff. Give me a gift certificate for like, it's just so funny how that's the priority. Like, let's see what we can give them that they'll actually like versus what's good for them.
I heard somewhere we're giving free sex for
Wait, what?
Maybe it was Amsterdam. They said, you can have 30 minutes with a prostitute if you show your jab recently or something. And I'm like, wow.
Okay.
Wow.
No disrespect to any, but the first joke that comes to my mind is like, well, you don't have COVID, but you have herpes. Like,
Yeah.
And of course, that's not a generalization. Sex worker is very important. I'm just saying, like, if really is that a good trade-off? I don't know. Maybe.
I've never heard
there's
of
some
so many arm twisting. It's like amazing, all these arm twisting going. Get free hot dog, or you get free
free
bun, or
something.
free sex, or who knows what's next. But it's really amazing. Anyway, so I think it's all part of a keeping the planet in control, low frequency, low energy, and there'll be more pushed on top of it. But that's all right. I think the light is shining. We have to let it get dark. I don't really worry about it. I think it's going to be dark, and the planet needs to purge a lot of old karma. I mean, the planet's already purging through storms. You in America and the East Coast have been whacked a few times with hurricanes, and there's volcanoes going off here and there. But that's just the Earth purging. It's just part of the purging. And star seeds, people waking up, are also purging their energy field. They need to purge old karmic stuff, which is one of the things I do on my channel, is offer a lot of tools for people to purge ancestral energies, purge stuff they're picking up from the collective, purge stories you got from your mother or whatever you got to purge it out, because awakening is it's emptying all of the old stuff, so you can actually feel, well, what's true for me, what's alive within me. And you can't know it if you've got all these layers of gunk and other people's values, other people's dreams, other people's programs, other people's fears or angers. You've got to get rid of it all. So that's part of what I help people do, clear all of that out.
Hey there, we hope you're enjoying this episode so far, but if you want to listen to the whole thing, we're going to invite you over to our podcast. Either search for High Vibing It on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you guys listen to podcasts, or even better, if you want to watch the extended video version of this episode that's even longer than the actual podcast itself, head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/highvibe. Lindsay, tell them what's awesome about the Patreon.
Patreon is where we have all of our extended episodes. As Kelsey said, we have it on video, so you can actually see the things that we're talking about. Sometimes we have visual aids, and it's nice to know what we're talking about. We also have hangouts that we do sometimes that are exclusive to Patreon people. And you can get started with all of this and bonus content and everything that we have only for the Patreon people for as little as $3. I think it's $3.33 a month. And that's it. And you guys can get all the benefits and all access to everything that we put in there. Really cool.
It's really cool, really fun, super easy to join. And you guys don't even have to do that to finish this episode. If you're like, screw it, I don't want to pay any money, I just want to hear the rest of this episode, go to our podcast, High Vibing It, search for it wherever you listen. It's totally free. Either way, enjoy the rest of the show wherever you choose to enjoy it. And we will see you guys next week, because we do a new one every week. Adios.
Bye.